From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. The dual Canadian-American who was among the 7 humanitarian workers killed by Israeli airstrikes Monday in Gaza was a former soldier from St. George, Quebec. 33-year-old Jacob Flickinger was brought into the World Central Kitchen fold last year by friend and fellow Army veteran Jonathan Duguay. Duguay had been working in Cyprus and was awakened early Tuesday by a phone call about the deadly airstrike on a WCK convoy in Gaza the night before. He says he knew instantly that his friend was among the victims. He tells the Canadian Press he later delivered the tragic news by phone to Flickinger's partner, who was at home in Costa Rica with the couple's 1-year-old son. Rescuers are searching for dozens of people still out of contact this morning, a day after Taiwan's strongest earthquake in a quarter century left much damage. ABC's Joyce Wong is in Taipei.
Authorities here said that as of 4:25 p.m. local time, the quake has killed 10 lives and injured more than 1,000 people. Rescue efforts are still being made to get to some 700 people who were either stranded or unaccounted for.
The North Atlantic Treaty Organization is celebrating its 75th birthday today. Foreign ministers from all 32 allied countries, including Canada, are in Brussels, talking mostly about continued support for Ukraine amid the Russian war. But they're also concerned about the possibility that Donald Trump wins the U.S. presidential election and his past threats to pull out of NATO. Brett Bruin, a former advisor to Barack Obama, says the alliance must be prepared.
I think there's a need for NATO as well as NATO allies to begin preparing countermeasures.
The Ottawa inquiry into foreign interference is set to hear today from the top brass of Canada's intelligence agencies and foreign service. It'll also hear today from RCMP Commissioner Mike Duhaime. Cultural long-term care homes in Ontario say new priority rules around admissions mean more people who aren't a part of that particular culture are being sent from hospitals to their facilities.
A law known as Bill 7 has garnered criticism for allowing people to be placed in a long-term care home not of their choosing. But the CEO of Advantage, which represents nonprofit homes, says the law has had other consequences as well. Lisa Levin says there's a priority for people needing to move from hospital to long-term care, but it's so rigid that few people who want cultural placements are getting them. She says many residents have dementia, so being in a home where they don't speak the language is disorienting.
They often revert back to their native language, which may not be English. And so in these homes, they have staff that speak that language.
Long-term care minister Stan Cho says he's working on a solution. Alison Jones, The Canadian Press, Toronto.
And power is out to hundreds of thousands of Quebecers this morning as a significant spring storm rolls through the region. This is The Canadian Press. In sports, Toronto Maple Leaf star Austin Matthews added to his NHL scoring lead with his 63rd goal of the season, but it came in a 4-1 loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Dallas Stars shut out the Edmonton Oilers 5-0 to set a franchise record with an 8th win in a row. It was the Vancouver Canucks getting by the Arizona Coyotes 2-1. The New York Rangers and the New Jersey Devils started Wednesday night's game with a brawl involving all 10 players on the ice off the opening faceoff. 8 of 10 players received game misconducts in the eventual 4-3 Rangers win. Yordan Alvarez homered twice as the Houston Astros blasted past the Toronto Blue Jays again, 8-0. The Toronto Raptors are licking their wounds after a 15th straight loss, falling 133-85 to Minnesota. Former Raptor Malachi Flynn dropped a shocking 50 points off the bench for the Detroit Pistons, and the Pistons lost to the Atlanta Hawks. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.